I had an atypical gap company. Typically, people deal with high-tech, often software-based companies. Mine was not. I had an Italian firm that's been family-run for more than 50 years now, and it's manufacturing-based. They build machines that bend metal. Not the sexiest topic in the whole world. And the work we had to do was a little touchy because our basic theory and the suggestion that we made to the company was that we really needed to have the family members step aside and bring in professional management to help run the firm. They've been losing money for a number of years now, and the family members were concerned about that as well. So we spent a lot of time talking to them about how to pull that off, why it needs to be done, and that the fact that things aren't going so well right now isn't your fault, but it's something that can be fixed if you bring the right people in. And then on the flip side of things, have them spend more time in places where they're really strong. One of the principals in the company was an excellent engineer and did most of their design work, and that's something that he should spend more time focusing on. The other one was very strong in sales and marketing and things like that, and that's where he should spend more of his time and leave the running of the operations to professionals who know how to do that. It was great because when we gave this presentation, the judges all backed up our support, and one of them was actually able to spend about an hour and a half with one of our executives talking through why this was the right thing to do for himself, for the company, for the family, and the employees and everyone else involved. So it turned out to be a really positive experience, but our group spent countless hours trying to figure out how we were going to present this to them, how we were going to talk them into accepting our recommendations, and the fact that we didn't want to tell them something that we knew wouldn't work out as well. So we wanted to go with this even though we knew it was going to be a hard message. And sometimes that's the learning you get out of GAP. It really depends on the company you happen to land with.
Mine was atypical as well. Our team worked with Oracle Corporation, so not a small entrepreneurial startup anymore, maybe in the 70s, but not quite now. So we worked with Oracle, which was the first time actually Oracle, I think it was the first time Oracle had worked with a GAP project. I think they'd worked with the university before on other kinds of projects, but not with a GAP team. So we really lucked out on a variety of levels. We were able to help Oracle look at how it could apply its technology expertise to addressing microfinance in India. So several people on our team were either of Indian descent or from India originally and come to this country only recently. So that was really exciting because they had the country expertise, and we also were really fortunate to be able to work with 3 different Oracle executives who are pretty high up in the company who really cared about our project and gave us the time that we needed to do the project well. So we had a really good experience. We were able to put together a business plan for them that essentially took their original idea and kind of turned it on its head for what the industry really needed. And what they were proposing originally coming in was a portion of what the industry needed, but we were able to do an industry analysis of microfinance in India to really help figure out what a more appropriate solution would be that would capitalize on Oracle's strengths. And so we have since presented, once we presented that to them, we also presented at a national conference on microfinance and had a really strong turnout and response in the audience there. And so it's a cutting edge topic right now internationally, and it's kind of amazing how quickly you become an industry expert once you work on something for 3,000 hours collectively of time. So it was a great experience. I'm glad that we were paired with Oracle, and I'm glad we could work on something that had a social edge to it, as well as in a country that people on our team really knew about and cared about.
I had a more normal GAP company, classic good old-fashioned tech. They were based out of New Zealand and did vehicle tracking systems. We also had to do an awful lot of people management in terms of basically had to go in and tell them that we, like in the first week, identified like 150 competitors doing exactly what you're doing.
Oh my gosh.
So you have a lot more of a commodity product here than you really think you do. So different teams have different experiences, but if I can kind of collectively summarize GAP, in some cases it's trying to find a product for a market. And in some cases it's trying to find a market for a product. Right. We got to take a product and say, how could you tweak and use it differently? Here's what you need to improve upon, and then here's a market that maybe it can actually go align to. So we ended up suggesting that instead of just where's my stuff vehicle tracking, they actually went and used it as a data acquisition platform. So looking at maintaining winter roads, where have I put salt down, what's the road temperature, because you already get the place where your trucks are and the time that these things are going on at the same time. Not necessarily sure it was what the executives ended up wanting to hear, but at the same time, you can't fault the program for coming up with a valid recommendation. And I just look at it as it's absolutely a no-win or a no-lose type of scenario because of the fact that these companies get a huge amount of expertise that people are going to go running all over the place and do just a ton of field research. We had 3 of our teammates who went to New Zealand. Myself and one other guy ended up hitting about three trade shows, all looking around at how you could actually do vehicle tracking. So one of them was a big fleet management trade show, and one of them was a big winter roads trade show. And it's the kind of things that you're going to be exposed to may surprise you, and you didn't realize that's what you're going to come across when you get going in the program. But the value that the companies get out of it, even if it's not necessarily exactly what they wanted to hear, can be just huge.
Well, and it's data-based, and so it's not like you're coming up with recommendations that don't have the data to back it up.
Right.
And I think that's, throughout GAP, the theme that you'll hear over and over again from Professor Foster and all the other advisors and everyone else is you need to have your data, whether it's primary or secondary, but predominantly primary, to support your recommendations. And if you have that, then the faculty and administration are going to back you with what you say because they know you've done your work. And there's lots of checkpoints and accountability mechanisms along the way to ensure that you're doing your side in terms of being data-driven and being conscious of what the different options are and the cost benefits of them.
Yeah. And the executives see that too.
Right.
It's not just, I learned this in class, this is what you should go do.
Right.
Here's the data that we have to back up the
support it.
recommendation that we're
Yeah.
having. Yeah.